All right, everybody, we are back for another night of game development. So let me just set up a few things real quick and we'll get started. So we have a few options tonight. We can keep going with what we were doing last time. I think we actually finished a lot of things last time. I guess let's do a quick recap of what we got done yesterday, just so that everybody knows who hasn't seen the last episode. As soon as Unity lets us start clicking around. But yeah, we'll get right into it. So you can see we've got our file names. We did all of this stuff. So you can see we've got the date that we last played the game on, and obviously that's yesterday. So if we click it today, we start playing, it'll show today. Total play time, so we played for 57 seconds total, and we collected 90 coins total. So let's click on this one, and I believe when click on quit, it's going to save, and sure enough, the date that we last played on was today, 4/19/2018. So, and that took us a whole 4 seconds to do that. So the adjusted time is now right there. So that's gonna be pretty cool. So yeah, okay. So last time I was talking about improving the shops interface a little bit, and that might be a good idea. This is a little bit. This could use an improvement. I was thinking about adding the shops as like places, and maybe I could also like after you beat a level, it unlocks the shop. So you can sort of imagine it as like we have a list of levels that might unlock after you clear them. I don't know exactly how I would go about doing that. Other than just saying like the shop unlocks after this level. But that's one potential thing we could do. The other thing we could do is improve upon this screen, because we've got our costumes, basketball costume. It's not really a basketball costume. I haven't coded that in yet, but actually let me check one thing. Oh yeah, so okay, we're good. We're good on the audio volume. But anyway, right, so the very last thing we did was we made it so that our inventory only contains things that we buy from the store, which is good. We also need to care about removing items from the shop once we have them, because obviously we can buy multiple basketball costumes, and that's not good. Really, all of these are things that you would only buy once. There aren't really any consumable items that we've listed up here yet, so it's probably safe to say that whenever we buy an item, we're going to just remove it from the shop. But the other thing is, we also... Well, actually, that gives me an idea, because I was going to say, we also need to make sure that when we load the game up, that it doesn't put the item back into the shop, like after we save and quit. But I think there's a way around that, which is simply, if the item exists in the player's inventory, then remove it from the shop if it's in the shop. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but probably is. So anyway, I guess we can get started doing that. So we got the shop right here. Now here's what we could do. We just check to see. But see, this is the thing. This is at the start function, and I don't know if we want to do that. We probably want to call this an init function to initialize it, just so that we can call this after after everything. So let's check and see when our inventory is initialized, because we made that function last time as well. It's initialized. Come on game. You can do it, you can figure it out. Okay, so right there is when we initialize the inventory. So we don't really have a reference to any of these shops though. So, because I was thinking if we initialize the shop after we initialize the inventory, then we can just check to see if it's in the player's inventory. Although the thing is, like, it needs to be removed. Because what happens when you buy something from the shop? Well, then it gets removed. So I guess that wouldn't work anyway. We can just get rid of all that stuff. Okay. Let's think of it this way. When we bring up the shop menu, we want to check all the items in the shop list. And if there are any in the shop list that are also in the inventory, then we want to remove them from the shop list. So when is it that we end up going there, I wonder? Shop button. Okay, upgrade shop.create menu. So that's when we call that function. Upgrade shop.create menu. Okay, so we want to do this right here. This will create the menu. But what we want to do right here is we want to make sure the shop does not contain any items in our inventory. So we're going to, for each upgrade item in GameController.instance.menuController.inventory, we're going to do well, we're also, yeah, if yeah, this will work just fine, because you want to avoid removing things from a list that you're iterating over. So if we iterate over this list, then we'll be fine. We're iterating over our inventory list. So if we remove things from the shop list, then that's fine. So we're going to say if items.dict dot contains, I guess contains key? No, contains value, right? What's the dictionary? A string and upgrades, yeah. So we want to look at the values. That contains, wait a minute. I mean, you could just look at the, you could just look at that. I'll go with that. Dot keys, dot contains key, there we go. Item dot name. Then we want to items.dict dot remove the value with the specified key, which is going to be item.name. So basically this just removes anything that is in the inventory. So when we go back to our game now, this should work. We should try to go to the store, and we should not see a basketball costume because we already have one, unless there's an error. Let's see. For each statement can operate in various types of inventory. Line 80. Oh, inventory dot, what's it called? Inventory. It's a little silly, but okay. Okay. So this should work. It's not very complicated this time, thankfully. It's not. Remind me later. What? What is this? Upgrade shop 82. Oh, it's because, darn it, it's just I changed this. That needs to be in the start function. Okay. Right. I forgot to change that back. Okay. And there's no basketball. So the shop normally contains a basketball, but since we have a basketball, it won't be in the shop. So let's buy the meatball now. We'll buy the meatball. And it doesn't get removed as soon as we buy it, but if we exit out and go back in, the meatball's gone. So that's something that we need to code in now. So we'll do that. So whenever we buy an item, we want to, well, how are we going to do this? We're definitely going to remove it from the store. So we'll do this. Items dictionary.remove selected upgrade.name. So we're removing this upgrade. And then what we're going to do is we're going to we have to remove the button as well, like the physical button that they can click on. So we need to look at each transform in items menu, and also what we want to do. Let's do this. When we make the buttons, let's change their name. Button.name equals upgrade.name. And so then we can just say, we can go up here and we can say for each game object, well, transform child in items menu if child.name equals selected upgrade.name, then we'll do child.gameObject or destroy child.gameObject. There we go. So simple as that. We're looking at the name of the thing that we want to remove and we will just destroy it. The only issue with this is that we're not going to be able to resize the list of things in the store unless we do something else. So then we'll have to recalculate the total height. Actually, you know what we could do? We could just call this function again, because it'll destroy all the buttons and then it'll make a new one. That's actually a lot better. But we'll keep this thing because it's good to know what the names are. But yeah, that's actually what we can do. We can just call this function, and it'll also do that. So actually, this is actually going to do everything for us. We don't need to do anything else. Because inside that function, it destroys all the previous buttons, and then it regenerates the new ones based on what's in there. So that was already, we got lucky on that, but it should work. So if we go to the shop and we want to buy the beach ball, for instance, we can just do that, and beach ball's gone, as you can see. So that worked perfectly. And if we go back to our inventory, we can see that we now have all these different items. So there we go. That pretty much works perfectly as intended. Now what else can we do? We could try to incorporate the stats, but for that we'd actually need to know what our stats are. So let's think about that for a little bit. Let's open up the snowball script and think about what kind of things snowball might have. There we go. Okay, let's just use the space up here for it. Snowball stats. So he's definitely going to have heat resistance, which is going to modify how quickly he takes damage, or basically how much damage he takes. So when it takes, we'll say damage, well, it's basically attack minus defense equals total damage, basically, in reference to the enemy's attack. Then we might have, say, our own attack, which is like the force of which Snowball launches himself, basically. We can also have, well, what's the difference between the force and the speed, though? I'm not sure, but we can also have range, which is the range which Snowball can launch in a single jump. So maybe he can jump higher. Let's see, heat resistance, attack, range. Is there anything else that I have written down maybe that could help us out? I have speed upgrade. Like maybe one where he doesn't, or maybe where he rolls faster. Well, these are good enough to start, I guess. We don't need a whole lot right now. So let's... There's probably a better word than heat resistance. Like attack and range. We'll say, we'll change attack to like power. So we'll have power, we'll have range. Maybe... Because range is like the distance. I think power is like the power at which you launch yourself. I think that actually does affect the speed at which you fly as well. So I kind of want to keep the laws of physics intact. So I can't modify the speed without modifying the just power. Well, think about it. Power is work over distance. So I'm pretty sure that's right. It's work over distance, and so if you cover any sort of distance, then you have power. But anyway, that's just some physics. So this is good enough. We're going to have just a couple stats here. We'll have public float resist, public float power, public float range. That's about it, I guess. And we're gonna have to go into our save file. Well, will we? No. I'm not sure we'll have to go into our save file, because if we just... Yeah. If it's just about equipping new equipment or whatever, then these will get changed automatically. So anyway, we just want to factor these into our equations here. So whenever we take damage, that's the burn function. So like you can't take damage any other way than this, basically. So this will be a simple one of damage player. Well, actually, this is it right here. current heat max equals damage times 0.6 F. Um, we could make this 0.6 F our heat resistance. So we could say damage times resist. Whoops. Oh, this isn't the game controller. When does this get called? It's called a few different times. Oh, I see. So we also call damage player when we pick up an ice power up to sort of I see. So let's do something here. Float final damage equals damage if damage is less than 0 or greater than 0, then we will do damage equals was that 0.6? I think it was 0.6. Let's verify real quick by going back. The thing that we multiplied this by, what was it? It was 0.6. So well, actually, what was the description that we had for our items anyway? What did I say that it would be? Increase heat resistance to 1. Okay, that's not very descriptive. Let's say resist 10% of heat damage. So something that'll damage you will damage you for 10% less. So that's a number that you can actually sort of figure out. 20%, and then let's say 30%. Yeah, that's not bad. For a start at least. And that'll encourage people to actually want to do that. To buy them. So this number right here is going to be 0.06 or 0.6 F times snowball, where's it, player? Yeah, player controller dot resist. Okay, so let's think about it this way. If I want to take only 10% of this damage here, then resist needs to be 0.9 basically. Yeah. So it'll resist. Well, really, then what we want to do is we want to do 1 times 1 minus that. So that's all that's going to be. And then the other thing that we want to do is I want to avoid modifying the ice values, because when you pick up ice, you're supposed to be healed the full amount, even though you're resisting the fire amount. So we're going to figure this out somehow. If damage is greater than 0, then that's when we only want to apply it then. Damage times equals all this stuff. Else damage times equals 0.6 F, I guess. So I'll just say that for ice. It's probably not the best way to do it, I don't know, but anyway, we can subtract our damage here, which when it's ice, we'll be subtracting a negative, which means it's a positive, which means we'll be adding the player's health back. Alright, so when we initialize our inventory and get all of our equipped items, actually, no. We want to do this the same way that we did the costumes, I think. At the very start of when the level plays, we check to see if there are any costumes attached. Yeah, right here. So we set the costume like this, and then we want to do if GameController.InstanceMiniController.Inventory.equipped Really? Hold on a minute. Let's say get stat boosts. Actually, wait, let me do it this way. We'll say resist equals dot get resist. Because what I might want to do is have it so that you can equip multiple of these at the same time. So you can customize how many that you want. I don't know. But this will be good enough. So, because for some reason I made these private. Anyway, where's get costume color? Okay. So, public float get resist, and we'll do if equipped boost is not equal to null, then we'll do something else. Actually, here's what we'll do. Float resist equals 0, and then at the very end we'll just return resist. So if the resist is 0, then we're not resisting any damage. But if boost is null, then we'll check to see if equip boost dot name equals heat resist level 1. That's probably a better way to do this, because again, there's probably a better way to do this, but as far as we're concerned, this actually works. So we're going to return, we're going to say resist equals 0.1, because at level 1 we're going to resist that much. And here's our else if statement, and same thing down here. So if it's level 2, we're going to resist 20%, level 3 will resist 30%. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much works. Yeah, that totally works, actually. And we'll do similar ones for the other two. So we'll do get power, and we'll do get range. Range level 1. Range level 2, range level 3. Just change these basic things. Float power, 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 and power. So it's pretty simple, straightforward. And then let's go back here and we'll just copy and paste this. So we'll have our power and our range for our stats, if there are any. And if there's not, then it'll just be 0. So what we're going to do now is apply these other things. Just we applied the resist, but we need to apply power and range. So power, I do have a variable in here called force, I believe. Launch force, maybe. Body.velocity equals launch force. Okay. So the thing is, if we change the range, then we're gonna, or the power. Well, the range is like the maximum extent that you could do this. So maybe we'll deal with the range first. So max launch.x. Right. So max launch is that, and wow, we actually referred to it quite a lot. Negative. How many times do we refer to this? We have 2 lines of it. At least 2 lines. Yeah, we have 2 lines. So let's do something like vector2 calculate range, and then we'll just do this return new vector2, all of this stuff, and we'll take in launch x, which is going to be a float. And float launch y, I guess. So then we'll just call that function launch x and launch y. Then we'll go back up and we'll call this again up here. And then now we can sort of focus on this part. So we'll do int max range x equals max launch dot x times range, and we'll do max range y equals max launch dot y times range. And then what we'll do is we'll just say, we'll just replace all these. Well, wait, what's intensity? Well, maybe the intensity is what we're going to modify then. Because really, the speed at which you're... Hold on a minute. There's 2 factors. One is the... No. Those are totally different things. Okay. The intensity is the power. So I'm right to do this. So... because we want to generate a number, we want to keep the number locked between these 2 ranges. And then after we lock it between those ranges, we multiply it by the power. And that becomes the force. So, at least I think so. So we'll do float. Shoot, what did I have? I had it all laid out. Okay, int. Actually, is that a float or an int? It's a vector2, so it could be a float or an int, and it probably will be a float. So max range x equals max launch dot x times range. Float max range y equals max launch dot y times range. And then, like I said, we're just going to go in here and change these. Okay, and the intensity level. We're going to do this. We're going to say float final intensity equals intensity times power. And now we're taking care of our power parameter. So there we go. I want the default power, of course, to be equal to 1, and the default range to be equal to 1. And resist is going to be, by default, equal to 0. If I can type. Okay. So we've got that in there. And actually what I want to do is when we get the range, just to test this out, I want to do ranges like, I don't know, 8. So range level 1 will be 8. So we'll be able to see a noticeable difference to make sure that this is actually working properly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, last but not least, add it to our shop so that we can actually buy it ourselves. All right. So this should be in the shop now, and then I think that's all we need to do, really. Unless there's a bug. Name resisted not exist in the current context. Oh, yeah, that's simple. I had to rename that variable, but I think this is all gonna work. So let's get started in playing it. Shop, range level 1, let's buy it. And now we have a stat, we can equip the stat. And we've got the stat equipped, so let's hit the play button. Uh-oh. Inf is finite distance along view. What does that mean? Alright, well, something's happening. Maybe let's change this back to 1 instead of 8 and see if that makes a difference. Actually, let me see that what I just did didn't break the normal playthrough. If I go to a regular one and try to actually, okay, sure. Level 2, I haven't bought anything. Okay, yeah, something's wrong with that. I get these strange errors when I'm trying to draw on that line renderer, but the line isn't drawing correctly. So, what's the deal? Like, if I just comment out all this stuff, is that going to work normally now? Yes, okay, so fortunately that actually does bring things back to normal. So what's going on here, I wonder? probably the range, probably. That's what's causing this, maybe. Yeah. Now, why would that happen? Let's do a debug.log. So we'll output both of these. And we'll see what's going on again. So they're both a 0. Oh, is it because... I wonder... I wonder if the starting value accidentally became 0. Okay, so I'm gonna make those variables private, and then we're gonna get them the right way. So resist is inaccessible due to its protection level. So we're gonna do public float get resist, return resist. Okay. So that's as simple as that. I'm pretty sure it's because of when you have a public variable, it usually defaults to 0, and I don't want those things to default to 0. Nope, that didn't fix it. Oh, I know what it is. It's whenever I copied these functions, the default range shouldn't be 0, it should be 1. Default power shouldn't be that, it should be 1. So I want to debug.log range plus range. And we'll see what's happening there. The power up should be equipped, which means we should be getting a larger number, but who knows what we're going to get. Range is 1 now, at least. Okay. Yeah, so that was the problem. So I guess the issue is that our power up is not being recognized. Okay, now our power up is clearly being recognized. Right. Clearly we can go much further up than we could before. So our range has increased quite dramatically, I would say. This really changes the way that you play the game if you have this wide of a range. You can just fly through these levels like crazy. Dark snowball. And actually, yeah, we can actually get out of this pit now because we have the range. But yeah, so that took less than a minute because we had that superpower. But if we... Let me just double check that this actually saves. So like if I play the game again now... Okay. Also my costume didn't save either. So that's not good. If I go to inventory and I come back out, now what happens? Now it applies. So that's interesting. My equipped costumes don't come back unless I go to the inventory, so that's not good. So let's fix that. Let me first get rid of these debug statements, though we don't need them anymore. I want to... this could be a good Android game with some cosmetic microtransactions. Well, thank you very much. Actually, believe it or not, this so far this is already an Android game. Let me post a quick link for you to play around with it. I'm updating it to be obviously to be even better, but this is the original game. So, and this is the idea that spawned all of this mess that we're making right now. So feel free to give that a play if you want. It's just the basic, you could say it's the basic prototype for this whole idea of throwing the snowball around. So feel free to play that if you really want to, or share it with someone who might. But for anyone who doesn't have access to the chat right now, you can just find it on Google Play Store if you search for Goldbar Games, or of course on our website. But yeah, it's good to know that you do think that this game has potential. So it's what we hope to achieve by streaming all of this, is to show off the potential that these games can have. So oh right, so the thing I wanted to edit was the equipment. You need to be able to restore the equipment without going into the equipment thing. So let's see. It's the inventory. Forgot when I did this. Load equipment data. So this should happen way sooner. This should happen way before we do this. Yeah. This should happen like as soon as we load the file. Okay. And I think that ought to work. Nice. Okay, yeah. So now we do load our equipment, our black costume and our super range ability. This actually gives me an idea, which is that if I don't know how difficult this would be to code, but if the range like really goes outside of the camera's length, then the camera zooms out to show you your landing point, basically. That sounds kind of difficult to code. I'd maybe need to think about how I would do that, but it would be nice to be able to see where I'm landing whenever this goes outside of the camera's range. But I don't know. Also, like, generally, like, when you propel yourself left or right, you fly a lot further than if you're just flying up or down for some reason. It seems like you can really launch yourself if you go left to right. So I don't know if I want to, like, I don't know if I want to limit that in any way or just let it be the way that it is. But yeah, so that's the basics of the upgrade system we got working. Okay, gave it 5 stars review. Oh, thanks. And thank you for the follow. I think that just was. Um, maybe add a trace effect. Um, I don't know what you mean by trace effect. If you can explain, like like when you jump around, you leave like a trail behind or something. I actually had kind of done something like that. Sort of. I was thinking it could be like an upgrade or an item, like a cosmetic item, where you can, yeah, like some nice stars or something following the ball. I think that could be a great cosmetic item that we could add in the store so the player can buy a particle of their choice that can fly behind the ball. So yeah, we definitely will do that. And actually, that could be something that we do right now, even because we're working on this system anyway. But yeah, thanks for the 5 stars and everything. Hope you have a lot of fun with the game. Honestly, I think it's pretty fun myself. That's why I want to make this sequel so badly. So, so let's see. Um, I do want to add like you're saying the cosmetic. Let's see. I don't think it would be called a costume. Like I was trying to organize these in terms of like upgrade types. Like you can only have one of these available at a time, maybe. Um, so let me just like copy and paste this. I don't know if I want to do this, but because then we have to duplicate all the code for all of that a second time. But we can call this like a trail. I'll call it a trail, and I'll just call this a fun visual effect. Trails behind snowball. And let's see. So that's enough to make it an upgrade itself. If we go back to the shop, we can try to add it into the shop, and we'll just add like trails. But see, the problem is now we need to add a new tab for the trails. So maybe there could be like a subcategory of costumes. Like instead of costumes, it could be like a cosmetic. I think that might be what I do. Because I don't want to. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, okay, forget this. We're going to do like, whoops. We're going to do something different. Yeah, just forget that. That's weird. I didn't realize I copy pasted that above. But don't know if it's possible, but something like endless mode. Endless in terms of what? Endless levels that you can play through? Like you just keep going until you die? Or you keep going until you fall? Because that would be interesting. I mean, I would need to think about how to do that in an interesting way. It's definitely possible to do. The question is, like, how interesting would the levels be if they were never ending? Yeah. If they were never ending, it's like, I would need to think about that. Like, how complex would they get? What kind of things could I put inside of it? I don't know. But it would be a very fun mode, that's for sure. So, we're going to add a public enum. Let's call this cosmetic, because that's a better descriptor. And I want to call this public enum cosmetic type. And we'll go costume and a trail. So there we go. And there we go. Now we have to change all these things though. And it's probably going to mess with our save file because it's going to look for costumes, but it won't find costumes. And then what we want to do is we're going to need to pass in the enum to our constructor here. What is all this? Price, thumbnail, We don't need a thumbnail. The thumbnail we can just pull, well, yeah, the thumbnail we can generate on our own from the file name, or from the name, basically. We don't need to store a separate thumbnail. It's a waste of space. And whether it's unlocked, do we really need that even? If we have different stores that carry different things, then we don't really need an unlocked parameter. We just need, yeah, we don't need that. It'll be a responsibility of the store to control all of that stuff. So we don't need to store that information inside of the thing itself. Alright, so that helps us out with this a little bit. But then we're going to go and we're going to say, well, this one's going to take an enum. So this will take a cosmetic type C and public cosmetic type cosmetic type. It's not a very creative name, but it's descriptive. So this will determine what kind of type it is, whether it's a costume or a trail, and so you can only have one of each equipped. So I'm kind of planning this ahead just so that when we get to this part, we can equip both the trail and the basketball costume or whatever. Never-ending level with some obstructions trying to destroy you, like hidden traps, holes, etc., and with some coins so that we can purchase upgrades and cosmetics. Yeah, that's totally doable. I just need to, because there's a lot of stuff to this game. If you go back and watch some of the streams that we've been doing, you'll see that there's actually a lot of stuff I've been adding in, and you'll also see that if you keep watching, but there's a lot of potential content that I could put into an endless level, so I would need to think about what things should be kept, what things shouldn't be kept, maybe even have multiple endless levels, so you have like different difficulties of endless levels, and maybe some levels give better rewards than others. They're more difficult to get through, stuff like that. So that could totally work, I think. It could be pretty fun. So I'm just gonna modify this stuff as the least amount of stuff that I need to just to get this working. So we definitely don't need this last parameter anymore. And we're gonna need to add a new parameter here, cosmetic type dot costume. Oops. You did all of this by yourself. Yeah, I did. Well, for the most part. So there's only a few things that I didn't do. I did all of the snowball sprite. I did the snowball sprite, and I did like the base sprites. But a friend of mine did the animations for the sprites. As far as the code goes, pretty much all of the code is mine. There's one asset that I'm using from the Unity asset store that allows me to generate the terrains pretty easily. But as far as the code goes, yeah, this is all 100% me. Cosmetic, costume, right, and then this one's going to be a trail. We'll just call this yellow trail, or gold trail maybe. Sounds better if you say it's a gold trail. A bright gold trail. Okay, great. What is this? Oh, did I misspell it down here? Probably. Yeah, I called it a trial. We don't want a trial. This isn't Phoenix Wright. Although I do like Phoenix Wright. I could learn to code, but I'm too lazy. Yeah, well, laziness is a pretty big barrier for a lot of people. You know, unironically. If you put a lot of effort into it, then yeah, you can do pretty much anything. Like this takes all of this. This takes a lot of time. Like I have several years of experience working with Unity, which is why I'm able to do this stuff as quickly as I can. I've gotten used to the way that all this stuff works, and I know a lot about different programming and all sorts of different things. So, um, but everybody's got to start somewhere. And there's all sorts of resources online where you can easily learn this stuff. It doesn't cost anything online. Um, but yeah, so let me see. We got 10. What is 10 supposed to be? The price. Okay, that's fine. So this will add the trail. And let me cut back here real quick and see if there's anything that broke while we were trying to do this. Yeah, costumes cannot be found. Cosmetic. We'll change this back to cosmetic. And this is going to break all sorts of things, I bet. So, type costume cannot be found. Blah, 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 blah. The reason I renamed this is because I want all of the different cosmetic items to be under one banner, basically. One tab in the store, so they're all on the same page. Okay, and like I said, I think this is going to totally destroy the save file that we had. So, I might as well get that out of the way and destroy it myself. So, 1 second. Okay, and they're all gone now. So, let's head back to our game, I guess. Well, actually, we didn't do anything yet with the trail. We can probably buy the trail, but we're not going to be able to do anything with it. So I guess we can just buy it real quick. So, okay, let's... Gold trails right here. We have no coins. If I hit the G button, we should get coins, I think. Do I need to be playing it? I need to play the level. So, there we go. Give me my magic money button. Gold trail, buy it. And we go to inventory, costumes, and there we go. We've got our gold trail. Even though it doesn't look like a trail, because I don't have, whatever, I don't have the right sprite. But yeah, so we can equip it, but it's not going to do us any good, I don't think. We should still have it, and we're still equipped with it, but it's not going to do us any good. It's acting like we, I see what's going on. It's trying to load a costume that doesn't exist, probably. It thinks we have some sort of costume equipped. Okay, so we're going to go back in the code and actually make it so that this actually gives us our gold trail. So, let's see. At the beginning of the level, we call a function that gets our costume. So, set costume, get costume color. So how does this work? Normal color equals color. Okay, I need to go back a step. We're getting this color right here. So if the equipped costume is null, then it's white. If it's a costume that we haven't defined yet, then it's black. Let me add something else here. If the equipped costume dot cosmetic type is not equal to cosmetic dot costume. So if we're not wearing a costume, then we'll just return color dot white. And that'll be the end of that. Otherwise, we know that we are wearing a costume. So, we can head back here. And we can do another function called set trail. I'm trying to think about how to do this. We're gonna have, like, I already have a particle trail set up to follow Snowball, sort of. I think I do. If we go here, I think. Whoops. Yeah, I've got particles right there, but they're turned off. So I'm thinking what I can do is I can just always have the particles with him, but they're just turned off. And then we can turn them on and change the color to whatever we want. So we'll do Snowball. Well, Snowball needs a reference to his particles. I think he has one already. Somebody should. So, because I have made his particles turn on before in the past. So, there we go. Super particles right there. Let's just change it to, let's just change the name to particle trail because that's what it really is. I called them super particles because at first they turned on whenever he got his super power up. But really, it's just going to be a particle trail. So, at the beginning here, we're going to do set trail. So for this, we're just going to do probably something simple. If so this returned a color. I mean, really, the best thing we could get from this one is a color as well. Maybe, I don't know. Get trail color. If it's not a trail, then don't do anything. I don't know if I want these to be the same function. If the name is gold trail, then return color.yellow. So we'll return color.clear if it's not anything. Well, I don't know if I want to mess with the color just yet. Let's just do the basics of if we set the trail, if inventory dot equipped. Yeah, darn it. Okay. Pop-up bool has trail. Okay, so we're just going to return this basically. So we're just going to check to see if we have a trail equipped. And if we do, then we'll return it. So if it has a trail, we're very close to getting this done. Okay, so particle trail dot set active true. And actually what we can do is we can just say particle trail dot set active, then call this function. It's a nice little shortcut. Okay, and then we can set the color later, but I just want to see that it actually does set the particle trail active if it recognizes that we have equipped the trail. Honestly, I always wanted to draw nice, but I'm talentless. So, well, I mean, whether it's coding or drawing, you know, I know a lot of people who can draw well. I mean, I can draw moderately well. I'm not really what you would call an artist, but if it's something that you want to do, then I would just say you should do it. See? Okay, so there we go. So we have our trail equipped, right? And then it checked, and so that obviously works. And if we go back into our inventory, I can't unequip it because I forgot that I can't do that unless I go to the shop and I buy like the meatball skin, and then I go back to my costumes. I had to refresh that. That's not good. Um, and I equip the meatball skin. Then I should not have the trail anymore, which is kind of bad, right? Because I want to have my meatball with the trail on it. So I want these two to be active at the same time. But that's really going to complicate everything that I'm doing. Or I should say everything that I just did, because I just spent the last few streams getting all that sorted out. But I want to have more than one of these active at the same time. So, anyway, so what we want to do is we want to set the color of the particle trail. So particle trail dot, can I just say color? Or is there more to it than this? Dot get component particle system, probably. Dot. There's nothing as simple as color, is there? You guys probably can't see what I'm saying, but it's like a little pop-up that shows you all the variables that you can type in. I think that doesn't render on open broadcasting or whatever this open broadcasting software. Let's see, what's it called here when I try to look at it this way? If I try to look at it this way, it's the start color. So I guess we need to look at the start color. Dot start color. Obsolete. Use main dot start color. Okay. Dot main dot start color. Equals. Dot get trail color. There we go. And so now we head back in here just to make sure that this works. If there is no costume, well, actually, this is really out of whack. First I need to check to see if it's null, then I need to check to see if the costume type is the right one. And I gotta fix that up here as well. Because we want to check to see if it's null before we check to see what kind of type it is, or else it might try to reference something that does not exist. That would not be good. Anyway, so I think this is actually going to work like immediately. So if I go back in here, as long as I make sure that we've got our trail equipped, then it should work. One who coded our world should improve himself. Yeah, I agree. Super trails, meatball spaghetti trail. Oh gosh. Programmist of this world forgot to launch justice.exe. Yeah. Cannot modify a value return particle system.main. What? What does this mean? Does that mean I can't modify the color of the particle trail? But everything was working so perfectly. Let's try using the deprecated thing. Okay, it's deprecated, but it works. So I just got rid of the main. They wanted me to use main.start. Wanted me to use main.start color, but I just used start color, and I think it should work. So costumes, I want my gold trail, and we're gonna play this level. And sure enough, we have our gold trail basically. And so right now it's basically checking on a switch case basis, where it's like, if we have the item with this name, then show this color, which is good enough as far as I'm concerned. We don't need to make it any more complicated than that, I don't think. But the downside is that for each trail that we want to add, we do actually need to manually sort of go in and do all this sort of code stuff. Unless we make it just part of the object. Well, I don't know. I mean, now that I think about it, maybe we should just do that. Because both the costumes, well, I don't know. The costumes, they could return a color, or they could return a different sprite. Like we had an idea for like a globe or an earth snowball. And for that, you can't just change its color. You have to change its sprite. So I think this is, the way we're handling this now is good enough for our purposes. So yeah, thanks for the suggestion. It's a pretty good idea. Ping snowball. Oh man. Methane gas trail. Yeah. I guess you can imagine this to whatever you want it to be. Whatever this yellow thing is trailing behind him. But yeah. Anyway, so that's that one. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. If you click save and quit instead of next level, the next level doesn't actually unlock. That's not very good. You'd think I would have figured that one out. So let's just fix that real quick before we forget about it. I think, yeah, actually, I'm not sure we can do it from there. We're gonna have to do it from here, I think. Where we get the result screen when, right? And then we do save and quit. But like, we don't actually want to show this button because this takes us back to the map screen anyway, so they can always save and quit from the map screen. And I might not even show this screen at all in the future. He might just like end the level with a little fanfare and then go back to the map. Because really, we don't really need this to show up. You get to see all this stuff when you return to the map anyway. And maybe there could be a button on the map anyway that just lets you it lets you share your score whenever you want to. So we might not even need this screen at all. Let me actually try and do that. Actually, let's grab this button and throw it over there, and close that out for right now. We don't actually want intro screen. We want the map screen. Where is it at? And let's do this. Let's add a button here where you can share your score for that particular level, whatever it might be. Of course, now I'm gonna have to move all the buttons around, but oh well. Put that on the sidebar. Add a Soviet cosmetic for me. Make a red ball with yellow hammer and sickle with angry eyes and KGB cap. Yeah. Oh, we can make all sorts of stuff. You know what would be really crazy if we had user-generated costumes, so people can make their own costumes. Because I bet there'd be a lot of ideas. We could easily have hundreds and hundreds of costumes. I mean, all it is a little round ball, so... I mean, really, think about those little, those pictures with the balls of the flags of different countries on them. That's what I'm thinking of now, but you could have one of those for each country. A snowball for each nation. But, man, there's all sorts of costumes you could have. We're not even at the tip of the iceberg. Just to make a little pun. Okay, button social. We want the width to be 200. And that's good enough. For now, at least. We can move this stuff up a little bit. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect right now. But, yeah. And then we can do, like, share score. Actually, I want to put that beneath the play button. Just because I do think it looks better like this. It's kind of annoying that it's like right there though. So let's just put the inventory up here, and then the share store button is going to be down there. But I think that's pretty good. Now when we press this button, it's going to call another function, and I'm going to have to see what it does because it's been a while since I've checked it out. So button share social.setActive. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So, the message that it wants to send is going to depend upon something else in a different script. Yeah, the country balls. Make version with Poland ball. Oh gosh. This meme is popular. Could work. Yeah. We could actually meme it into the memes. The memes will take us places that nothing else could take us to. North Pole is near Siberia. The Husky Dog shopkeeper would be rockin'. Yeah, we can do that too. So let me see. Tweet. Yeah, there we go. Because I've got this integrated with Twitter, and the other day I learned how to do the integrations with Facebook, so I might be able to add Facebook in as well, but for right now, we're dealing with Twitter. So the tweet text, where does this come in? When do we set this? We're not setting it to anything because I removed it from the last game. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to copy and paste this. We're going to go to this button, the button share, and we're going to, let's see. We're going to modify the tweet text so that string twt equals ... Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say my best time on selected level. Say what is it? Level names. Yeah, level names. Selected level. Dot to string. Well, no, that is a string. So my best time on this level basically was what is it? My best time on it was data dot whoops well, really, I can just take a shortcut because we're going to have that text to set up like that. So, and really, I could actually take the shortcut like this too. Level name dot text. It's level time dot text. Oops. So that's just a basic example of what we can do. I might change this later on. But yeah, if I head back here now, I'm just curious what's going to happen. Oh, you have to go to sleep. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be around at the same time tomorrow and every weeknight. So if you can make it, feel free to come back, and we're going to archive our stuff anyway. So, but thanks for coming by tonight. It's been pretty fun. So have a good night. But let's see what we've got working here. So I can share the score, and yeah, nothing happens. So I'm going to need to investigate this a little bit further. Oh, okay. So, right. I need to authenticate my Twitter account. I don't want to do that on the stream. That'd be bad if everybody saw my Twitter password. But anyway, we can do other stuff for the remaining half hour. Because we go 2 hours every night. regardless of pretty much anything, we always try to do at least an hour and a half. But I'm feeling pretty active tonight, so we're gonna go the full 2 hours, just like we did last night. Always more than an hour and a half, and probably never more than 2.5 hours, because I don't want people to be like, staying up more than they need to be. So let's do a quick recap of the things that we've discovered. We got the trails to work. We got the costumes to work. We didn't get it so that we can equip both a costume and a trail at the same time. So maybe that is something that needs to be done. Probably. It does introduce some issues though, like, and there's always the moves too. We need to add more techniques and stuff that Snowball can do. But I guess the big question is how many different of these things are there? Like, is it just going to be trails and costumes, or will there be more stuff? And if there is more stuff, like, what if you've got trails and costumes and colors? So you've got like a red earth or a yellow meatball or something like that. I don't know. You can mix and match them in different ways, maybe. What about the shop menu? I mean, it could definitely use a makeover, but I don't know. Let me check out the code and see what we can do with the getting both of those working at the same time, because that could probably take half an hour. That could probably finish us off. Let's see. So the idea is that there can only be one equipped frame at a time. So yeah, see, that's the problem. Like, maybe we need a better way of telling what's equipped and what's not equipped, and maybe I'll need to think about that overnight, but let's do it this way. Let's do, so we've got equipped costume and we've got equipped trail, and they're both cosmetics. So I think at minimum that's all we need. So if it's a cosmetic, then we'll check to see if selected upgrade let's see. Can I do this? No, I can't do that. Cosmetic equals that. And I can do this. If cosmetic dot cosmetic type equals cosmetic dot cosmetic type dot costume. So if it's a costume, we'll do that. Else, if it's a trail, then we'll do that. And we can just copy and paste this here and here. So equipped trail. Oops. Equipped trail equals that. And we'll need to add this to our save data, so once again our saves are going to break, I think. Yeah, our saves are going to break for sure. Public, cosmetic, equipped trail. Okay. So this happens when we equip the item. The only issue is we're not going to visually see it accurately. Maybe Snowball can make dust fly when he lands as an effect. Yeah, he could do that, and especially in like certain places. Um, yeah, that's a small visual effect that we can do. I don't know if if a place is covered in snow, would he really be making dust fly? Like, is there any dust when if it's on a snowy surface? But he can make the snow. He can make the snow fly. Like you could see little particles of snow flying around. So, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I need to do here. Yes, there is. I need to get equipped trail equals data dot equipped trail. And I think that's the bare minimum. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna have to delete my save file again. But I think this ought to work. We'll go in the game, get some gold. It's like so much for taking a long time. It's like we got this done in 5 minutes. What was it? There's an error. What was this error? Oh, yeah. If, actually, we'll just do this. If equip costume, wait a minute. Wait a minute, no, oh shoot. Let's close out of the game for right now. So, this is wrong now. Because there's not just one equipped costume. Now we've got equipped trail. So this doesn't even need to exist, really. This just needs to be equipped trail. Yeah. We're checking to see if this is null now. And so it gets trail color is this. Yeah, that shouldn't ever happen. So, anyway. I think we're good now. I don't think there should be any problems now. Okay, so get some money. Oh, we already had money from the last one because it's saved. And go to the shop. Let me buy myself the gold trail and a meatball. Okay. Go to inventory. Should be able to equip both of them, even though it won't show them both equipped. But they should be both equipped now. Oh, I forgot to switch screens. That's okay. You didn't miss anything. So I've equipped them both, and hey, sure enough, we got it. Yeah. So you got to see the moment of truth. That's all that matters. So now we are red as a meatball, if that makes any sense, and we have our gold trail behind us. And I might just I might just keep this on as I test the game because I kind of like the way that it looks. But yeah, that only took us 5 minutes to do. I guess 8 minutes if you include some of the mistakes I had to fix. But yeah, that didn't take very long. So let me just also test out the new ending screen that we reached, where you have to click the next level. Yeah. So the only option we have here is to go to the next level. Maybe I should just get rid of that tonight. Like, it just fades out without clicking the next level. Because there's no point to having it, because you'll get to see the stats right here. Although that needed to refresh itself. So that's interesting. So let's try it. Let's see. The button that you're gonna press is next level. Well, actually, wait a minute. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. End level is what happens. So let's see what happens here. So this brings up the menu, and changes our game state. So really, we don't need that. We definitely don't need the Twitter stuff right here, and we don't need any of that stuff. All we need to do is just say next level. Basically, that's the only option that we want to give people at that point. And they're going to do menu controller to go to map. And when we do this, what we also want to do is display levels. What happens when we display the levels? And when is this called? Okay, I want to do something specifically. Maybe right here, I guess. I want to do menu controller dot set selected level. Menu controller dot selected level. Whatever. Let's just do it in here. Go to map. Let's do menu controller dot. We don't need to reference it. We're inside of it. Set selected level. Selected level. So that it refreshes the data from the level that we were just at. So I think that ought to fix what I was just talking about. Actually, we need to do this to a new level. So again, it started out with zeros in every field. Also, let me just go ahead and buy that upgrade. So I can go through this a bit faster. Oh, I forgot to equip it. I wonder if... No. I was going to say, I wonder if I should be able to equip stuff from within a level, but that almost seems too overpowered. You want to be able to, like... You're going to need to think about what you want to put it on before you go into the level, basically. That looks really cool, though, I have to say. I do have to say that that looks extremely cool. Seeing the little particle trail. As he flies at hyperspeed, basically. Uh-oh. Okay, we're good. This is really great for testing. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. And we still actually need to do the power. Okay, so that worked. That totally worked. The only thing is it didn't fade out. It just sort of instantaneously went to the next, went to the map screen. So it should have faded out first. but it refreshed the data, which is good. Okay, button next level. Yeah, okay. So that's what we needed to do. Instead of saying next level, we need to say button next level. Menu controller dot button next level. Because I wanted to execute the stuff that the button did, which that'll fade it out. And we'll get the fade out now. So what was the thing I just talked about? There was one other thing I wanted to do. Oh yeah, the power. That's right. We went to factor in power. So we can make another upgrade that is, instead of range level 1, it's power level 1. Which is going to increase our power. So basically this will fly us faster. I'm actually not sure if there's a distinction like in the way I've coded this, but I want there to be a distinction. With range, you're still going to fly slowly, but with power, you're going to fly faster. So if you have both range and power, then you can go further and faster. So anyway, that's going to be added to the store, and I think we added the proper stuff. Yeah, get power. So I think it's actually already in. We just need to actually buy it and test it in the game. So power level 1, fly faster. Inventory, we've got these two, so let's equip power instead. And let's try playing this level with power. Okay, so that doesn't work at all. Let me see. I might have had to comment out something to get that other stuff to work properly. Final intensity, no. Yeah, okay, yeah, I did comment that out. Intensity times power, it has to be multiplied like that. So, okay, so let's try this again. Now that... Oh, wait, I need to modify one more thing. Because we never specified how much power that that one's actually going to be worth. So, one last thing, we go back in here. So power level 1, let's say it's like 4, just so we can see noticeable difference. And 18 and, I don't know, maybe 16. So let's just do the same thing down here for good measure. You'll have really large range if you can do that, but anyway. I just want to make sure that this works in some capacity before we stop for tonight. So we still got that equipped, right? Yep. And let's test it out. Yeah, check that out. I'm not sure I can tell a difference between the two. It looks like this shoots in more of a straight line. Yeah, so there's definitely a difference. Maybe I have these mixed up. Maybe it's the other way around. Because this is range, but This is interesting. So there is a difference. You do something like this. Well, no. No, this is right. Because the range has increased. Because instead of being confined to a small area, I can go like really far now. But I can still be small. The other one, on the other hand, even when I try to do even the smallest little thing, it's gonna fly me really far. So I think that's exactly how I want it to be. So let me show that off once again. If we do stats equip fly faster, right? So it's like this requires barely any effort to do that. Actually, I'm still not entirely convinced it's doing what I want it to do. What I want it to do is that it's just like you just go faster, but at the same time, it is doing what I want it to do. You know, you're exerting less effort to gain further distance, because I'm barely exerting any effort right here, and I'm going really far. So compared to the other one, which increases the total effort that I can exert, basically. So yeah, these are totally different things, and Snowball is really going far. And yeah, look at that. He went over the level, and we can do it again. And we went over the level again. So yeah, all right. I guess that's pretty good for tonight. We got everything done basically that I wanted to. We got. That's okay. Snowball was destroyed, but we can deal with that some other time, I guess. Anyway, the point is we got the second category of power-ups done, or items, I should say. The items being power-ups. So costumes are done, and we also included the gold trail costume, the whole category of costumes that are trails, and we got the stats. Well, so far at least, and heat resistance should work as well. I'm fairly confident that it is working. I'll test it off stream. It's not much of a sight to behold. It's just that you die slower. So, the only thing that's left is the moves, and the only reason why it's remaining like this is because I can't think of all that many moves at all in the first place. Like a double jump, a triple jump, and a wall jump. That's about all I can think of. Maybe if we come up with more interesting techniques that the player can use, then we could potentially add a lot more stuff to this one. But until then, we pretty much covered everything on the list. So I think I am going to stop here for tonight because we've successfully done quite a few things, and it's always good to end it on a high note. So we're going to do exactly that. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will show your moves. Yeah. We will see you once again tomorrow night, same time, same place. And I don't know what we'll do, but we'll get more stuff done. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.